My name is Carolyn, and I despise toxic positivity. I hate trying to put a nice little bow on things and try to package it up as if everything happens for a reason and the trauma that you experienced has actually been a blessing to you. But your trauma made you stronger. It probably left you with some long-term mental health issues. Maybe you can't trust anyone any longer. You're supposed to somehow give credit to the abuse for how resilient you are? No. You are amazing. You are the one who picked yourself up. To give a little hope, at the end of this video, I would like to be able to talk about some ways that we can help heal and try to repair some of the nonsense that was done to you. I don't believe that. Any positive spin that can be put on it, it's only due to me, my resilience, and my ability to be able to learn and grow and make something from it. But that wasn't the case even just a year or two ago. If you've ever been a victim of trauma and abuse, then you know that the effects that it has on your nervous system are long-lasting and pretty severe, pretty intense. I was subjected to some brainwashing and coercive control by my therapist for over 7 years. And the stress that was inflicted on my nervous system really did a lot of damage. One of the worst points of my trauma recovery, I was experiencing seizures where my nervous system would just experience waves of stress that just shut my body down. I was still fully cognizant when it was happening, but I would lose muscle control and would fall to my knees in my home. I've got a picture, and if I can find it, I'll put it up, of one time when I cracked my chin on the bottom of my counter, or on the top of my counter in my kitchen. That was pretty scary. So the effects of abuse are not to be minimized. It does a real number on your nervous system, and people aren't supposed to be caught in cycles of fight and flight for extended periods of time. So that is complex PTSD. That's what a lot of survivors of trauma experience, and that doesn't just go away. Some of the things that abuse has actually created for me in terms of damage to my nervous system are seizures, panic attacks. I was on several antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications. Those did a number to my mood and my ability to be able to parent effectively. So my nervous system was completely shot, and I can experience tremors or trembling even right now. Sometimes I'll feel it in my hands and I'll just shake it away, and I know that I'm safe. I know that I'm okay. But I used to feel very optimistic and very calm and not constantly so hyper vigilant, and that really stresses your nervous system out. So it has damaged my nervous system in ways. Another way that people don't consider the impact of abuse and how it can destroy a victim is financially. For me to be able to go on those antidepressants and medications that I needed, it cost a lot of money. It also cost money for me to go to more therapy to be able to seek treatment from the other therapy that I had received and had been abusive. So that costs financially, not to mention the loss of revenue and income. I am a small business owner. If I'm not able to run my business properly, and if my brain is so focused on survival and making sense of nonsensical stuff, then there's no energy there for creativity and to be able to grow and expand. So a victim of trauma often has to limit their ability to generate income, and then also there might be more money going out also. Relationships. Abuse affected all of my relationships. My ex-husband didn't feel like he could trust me. My children had their mother taken away from them by me always being so caught up in my head and incapable of really being with them. I was also more impatient. I had worse memory. I could not follow the train of thought that my children were having because my brain was so busy in survival mode. Again, trauma did not make me stronger. Those are all weaknesses. No one benefited there. I don't know, did trauma make me stronger? Because for a while I had debilitating anxiety. I became a hermit for probably 12 months. I had to let go of all of my friendship groups because I saw abuse everywhere, and go figure, people don't really want to hear about that all of the time. So my entire support system dwindled. Now I feel like it was probably a good thing because I needed to learn some pretty tough lessons, and I feel like I have now since done that. But my entire life has changed. Abuse did not make me stronger. I would have been very strong and very capable had it not held me back. It brought me back and then made me have to catch up, but now with hurdles that I didn't have before. I was not mistrusting of absolutely everyone before. What are some ways that we can heal? For me, one of the biggest obstacles was dissociation. When I feel intense emotions and I don't know what's going on, I just flee my body. My brain just goes elsewhere and I observe from a distance. So being able to get present with my body, doing somatic guided meditations is very helpful. I do love doing some hot yoga. I feel like moving my body like that is really good. Otherwise, I tend to stay stuck in freeze. That's my default, is I just go possum. Not great for healing. So it kept me stuck, right? And we don't want to stay stuck. As much as this is not going to make you stronger, I do believe that there is a path towards healing if some of the right conditions are met. So learn to trust yourself. I think the best way to do that is by honestly going no contact or low contact with anyone that you cannot trust implicitly right now. So if people are not on your side and if they make things feel confusing, get rid of them until you have a better idea of who you are and what your boundaries are and what's reasonable. Trauma also made me feel responsible for certain things that were absolutely not mine to carry and shoulder for years. So creating self-doubt and feelings of confusion and cognitive dissonance, that is very difficult and traumatic on the brain. And that's, again, not to be taken lightly. This isn't about, we're talking about trauma. We're not talking about a situation that was slightly unpleasant. We're talking about situations where your nervous system feels like its survival is threatened and there is no safety and there is no protection. There are major consequences. It did not make you stronger. And what was very helpful for me is joining online communities, safe spaces where people understand what's going on. Whether they mean well or not, the folks who are in your life might say things because they are trying to be helpful, but sometimes they also just kind of don't want to deal with it. Or they're actively participating in the abuse and they don't want to be called out. So avoid that confusion and find a space where people believe you. I know it feels really scary to be able to open up, especially if you don't know who to trust. The path towards healing for me started earnestly when I had been following a complex PTSD group on Facebook, and I started getting a sense of what narcissistic abuse and the patterns of abuse, what it looked like. And so I decided to write a post, explain what had happened to me in therapy, and see if anyone had any feedback that they could offer. And my life changed from that point on. I began to regain control. I started making sense of things. And I am forever grateful for that group. One of the great things to come from that post on that Facebook group is a recommendation to reach out to a group called TELL, which is Therapy Exploitation Live Links. They are volunteers who have all either experienced or are experts in therapy abuse, and they understand the power dynamics, the imbalance of power, and how all of it happens. So I started finding help. I started connecting with people who believed me, could mirror my experience back to me, and could really just finally make me not feel alone. So find people to not make you feel alone, because I believe you. If you've been hurt, here's my take on it. Yes, maybe there are false accusations for certain things, but for the most part, a person who comes forward and claims that they've been abused, they have nothing to gain from it. Nothing. I'm still going to make the most of my experience because I want to try to help and protect people who could find themselves in a situation like I'm in. And also because I recognize that the reason that I am healing is because other people put the effort in also to connect and to share. Once you stop isolating, and that's really what your abuser wants most, let's be honest. They don't want you to share your experience. They want you to feel like no one's going to believe you, like it's all your fault, like you should feel ashamed. Don't, okay? I believe you. Oh, that's what I was saying. I don't believe anyone benefits from claiming abuse when they haven't been abused. So I'm not going to handle the exceptions. Sure, maybe there are exceptions, but they are the exceptions that prove the rule. And I believe victims, men and women also. So I just want that to be very clear. I have 2 children, 2 boys. I think that they would probably struggle as much, if not more, from abuse, because just imagine the extra hurdles for them, for coming to terms with it, for wondering if they played a part in it, for all of the conditioning that society does. So if you're a man or a woman, I believe that you can also be a victim for sure. I also believe that your trauma did not make you stronger. If you are here and you're listening, I'm here for you. I am a safe space. I believe that you are going to be able to have the potential. I mean, neuroplasticity, it's pretty awesome. I'm not going to say that you can go back to being the way you were. I don't know that I'll ever be able to stop being hypervigilant. I guess this is just the way it is. But do not give credit to my abuser when the credit is all mine. Please follow along, share, comment. Again, it's so isolating being a victim of any kind of abuse, and I just want you to know that you are not alone. I am here, and this is empathy with a backbone, because empathy that's not discerning can be catastrophic.